Hi everybody, Lori here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I wanted to share a really fun project using the new Festive Bloom dies by Concord 9th. I just received the release here in Minnesota in our new house. We've been here about a week, maybe two. I've lost track of time. But this is the beautiful Festive Blooms die set that really caught my eye, along with the little, what is this, Festive Blooms stamp set. And here's a quick little peek into my current craft room situation. So there is a little office in the front of the house that I'm going to turn into our office slash craft room. There's a big closet in here that I'm hoping to fill it with a bunch of shelving, and then it will hold the bulk of my stuff. That's the hope. And then there's these other little, okay, all this stuff I'm hoping will go into the closet. But look at this adorable birthday card I got for my birthday. It's Hank. It's Hank the Tank. And that banana painting is one of my first paintings I ever painted in college. I think I might hang it up there. I don't know. Another old bookcase from our house. Probably going to get that out of there. Right now we're on folding tables. My son plays Fortnite in here. Got the printer. And anyway, I got to order desks. I got to order shelvings. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to figure it out. Right now, she's a hodgepodge of a redneck Laura Fedora studio. But we're moving on to Festive Blooms dies. I would say this is probably my favorite thing out of the September release with Concord 9th, so I had to play with it first. Although there is a bunch of fun other stuff, like some great inlay dies, the nutcracker stuff. I love that. There's embossing folders. I think that's a first for Concord 9th. Embossing folders. But I'm going to start with this Festive Blooms dies and just kind of chitty chat while I walk through it. If you have this set and you want to kind of make it along with me, you can follow along. You'll have to pause it at certain times because maybe I go too fast. But first I'm die cutting that outline and the kind of detail floral edging die. And this is a panel of evergreen cardstock. I'm going to be using all Concord 9th cardstock. That's another thing I really want to do in this new studio is get all my Concord 9th cardstock like organized. I need to put the names because there's so many colors now, and sometimes I forget, is this evergreen? Is it clover? Am I lemongrass? What am I doing? But anywho, all these colors, Concord 9th, delicious solid color cardstock. I'm putting together a poinsettia, and I decided to kind of build it. So the darker layer of poinsettia is the cranberry, and then here we have poppy, and then the center part of the poinsettia is sorbet. And there's two poinsettias in this little layout. The other one I'm going to do a shade lighter. And then these blooms, I don't know what they are, but they must be kind of holiday blooms. But I used pink lemonade and sweet pea cardstock for that. And then what do we got? Lemongrass, grasshopper. What are the shades? They all work so well together for holiday. I'm taking this off camera, run it through my Anna Griffin Impress, and I'm just going to start laying it out. And I love how the etched die kind of makes everything, you just put it in there like a puzzle piece. You don't even have to think. Now, if you wanted to do your own layout, you certainly can. You don't have to stick to this one, but I will tell you, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's a good one. And so I'm just kind of laying these out here. Nothing's glued yet. Just seeing how it looks, seeing what I need to die cut next. And I am referring to the back of the die packaging. I always do that. Just look at it and use it as a guide. And I also use it as color inspiration. Sometimes I veer off, sometimes I don't. There's also some new metallic cardstocks in the release. Like there's a red metallic, and you could incorporate some metallics in here. Some glitter cardstock would be fabulous. So we are doing good. We are still kind of adjusting to the new home. I will say I miss our home in Illinois. I do. You know, when you live somewhere for 20 years, it's kind of hard. Aside from the little stint, we went back into Germany and came back. But 20 years in a home, really, it's hard to adjust. This house is beautiful. Minnesota's beautiful. The people are so nice. I didn't realize there was a phrase because the one neighbor brought us a box of donuts, and I said, everyone's so nice here. And he said, haven't you heard of Minnesota nice? And I'm like, no. But it's true. They're all nice. By the way, my poinsettia, you can see the lower one, the bottom one, it's a shade lighter than the top one. So instead of putting in that cranberry, I started the base layer with poppy, then sorbet, and then the top layer grapefruit. And I just wanted to do a little variation instead of making them exactly the same, although I'm not opposed. Now, for the center of the poinsettia, I had to Google this. I think it's called cyathea, these little yellow dots. There's a little die cut, and you can die cut and put it on top, or there's holes in that top layer. You could put it behind and have the yellow just kind of peep through. I believe that's buttercup cardstock. But yes, cyathea. I was going to call them stamen. That's how much I know about flowers. Although I will say, in this new house, we have a bit of landscaping and some florals and some foliage. And so I was asking the neighbor ladies, okay, I need some lessons on how to, handle this, treat it, trim it, prune it. What do I got to do? And they were kind of helping me out. By the way, side note, a lady to the side of me, her name's Barb. Lady across the street of me, her name's Barb. So we have Barb and Barb. And Barb and Barb walk a lot. They're like walking partners. And I will see them often when I'm walking Hank. And by the way, Hank and Frank are thriving in Minnesota. They're thriving in this cooler temperature. Nice big yard. They're loving it. And Frank, he's an outdoor cat, And so he cries. He lets us know when he wants to come in and out. In Illinois, we had a little cat door. And so we're working that out. We might need to make a cat door. I'm not sure how that's going to play out. But once an outdoor cat, because he was a shelter cat taken from off the streets in Germany. Long story, my son adopted him from a shelter. And it's pretty hard to take a cat that is from the streets and make him an indoor cat. It's just not going to work. But anywho, Frank is thriving here. And Hank is also loving the walks. We have some beautiful little paths and sidewalks. And now once I have all the pieces die cut, I'm just gluing them on. I'm using Barely Art glue. And I'm using the etched lines on this panel that the die cut did for me, and just put them in place like working a puzzle. It's kind of mindless and beautiful. And I'm sitting here in my new craft room. I think we've been here, today might be 2 weeks. It's a blur. Pretty much everything is unpacked except for my craft room. I'm still working on that, but I got to get a bunch of shelving. I want a shelving floor to ceiling in that closet, and I'm hoping I can get some bins, maybe those fridge bins like Jennifer McGuire uses, or a cheaper version. I'm not, and then get all the stamps organized, put away, and then I just need to get a good sturdy desk to work on and figure out my filming situation. I've been using the old Acron, what's it called? Holder, put my cell phone. I tape my videos with my cell phone, but it would be nice to get one mounted on the ceiling. I don't know. I'm not very high techie. I'm pretty rednecky, but we'll see. I don't know. I love working in front of a window. There's not as many windows as we had in our house in Illinois, which does not make me happy. I like a ton of windows, a ton of light. I need light. I love light. Feel the light. But I'm adjusting. And also the walls in here, the previous owners, they loved color. So all the walls are painted different colors. When you have a room and it's got different colors on each wall, like some are kind of a burnt terracotta, and one's like beige or olive. A lot of those earthy tones, which they're pretty. It's not bad, but I'm like an off-white type of gal. Like I want the whole house to be kind of a cream. And, just that's going to take some time. So we got to paint, and kids want to paint their rooms, probably just neutrals and all that jazz, So the kids are going on their first week at school, Charlie and Emma. School is great. Loving it. Emma's in cross country. She's got her first cross country meet today. And Charlie's hoping to try out for the hockey team. We'll see how that works. And Emma too. And then the older girls, they're back to living with us. They were doing, I don't know why I'm telling you my whole entire family history. The older girls. So we have everyone living at home except for Bo. He's in Germany. And my oldest daughter, Alex, is doing a little bit of freelance graphic design. She might move out. I wouldn't put it past her to go to Minneapolis or a bigger city and do some graphic design. We'll see what happens. She's in that transition zone, after you graduate college. Then they did an internship in Michigan, and now you got to figure out what you want to do with your life. It's kind of a hard transition. Then Bailey got a job here as kind of a teacher's assistant / classroom monitor. It's just from 10 to 2, and she likes it so far. My husband got this job at this hockey academy, which is really close to where we moved. And so my daughter Bailey is working there as a teacher's assistant, classroom monitor. So they're both working in the same place, loving it so far. They have an Aldi here, so I'm good. I love shopping at Aldi. They do not have a Chick-fil-A. They do have a Target. And what else can I tell you? I should probably talk about the card I'm making. One thing I love about this is everything's pretty flat. There's no dimension, although dimension is life. I do pop up the sentiment, so there is that. But other than that, it's a pretty flat card, but it doesn't look like it, and I didn't glue everything flat down because I love to give it a little lift. Putting Bearly Arts glue on the back of this panel. You could pop it up. You could also use tape runner, whatever works. I have a white card base, just gluing it down. And then, I'm going to zhuzh it. I'm going to take my little craft needle and go behind all of the blooms, all of the berries, zhuzh it up. But first I'm going to emboss the sentiment. This is from that Festive Blooms stamp set. I prepped a piece of poppy cardstock with the powder tool, Simon Says Stamp powder tool, using Versamark ink, stamping Merry Christmas. And I'm going to stamp it 3 or 4 times. Don't ask me why. I just feel like I need to stamp it a lot to get a good, rich coverage with that white embossing powder. So I'm pouring on Simon Says Stamp white embossing powder, and then I will heat that with a heat gun. A lot of times when I go from, working to embossing, I like to emboss on this glass mat. That way it doesn't warp my grid mat. Anywho, then I take this little banner die that's also included in the Festive Blooms. It's got the banner die and the little banner ends, die cutting those both out of poppy cardstock. And then I'll glue the little ends onto the banner. And you kind of offset them so it looks like dimension. Speaking of dimension, Kathy Zilski, she's about 2 hours away. And we are going to meet. We've talked. I don't know if we're going to meet halfway or if she's going to come here because she really wants to meet Hank the Tank and Frank the Skank. I just made that up right now. Okay, so gluing on the ends, banner ends, and I am going to put a little sliver of, I guess it's not more, it's a little more than a sliver. And I'm going to try to tuck this in if I can. Kind of tuck it, cock it. I want the poinsettias to kind of come over if they can. That way it all kind of melds into one little mixture, little concoction. There you have it. Festive Blooms die from the new September release by Concord 9th. Check it out. It's fabulous. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video and my never-ending ramblings. I hope to come back with some more craft room updates. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.